This program is intended for a mature audience. If you are not 18 or older, stop listening and find more age-appropriate content. This show will cover topics in a satirical manner. If you are offended by any content herein, that is your own problem. As you have been warned, please do not try this at home, or anywhere else for that matter.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports.
Oh, hell no!
So with us today, we have, and I hope I don't mispronounce your name, Zach Loffert.
That's correct.
From Rodz Bodz.
That's us, the ones and only.
And you guys are, you have a movie car museum, which is really cool. I was watching a lot of the videos on it. That way I didn't sound completely ignorant talking to you. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go ahead, say a little bit about what you guys do and what you guys have and stuff like that. And
yeah, so we started the company in 2017. We started doing rentals for weddings and commercials and music videos and just somewhere you can rent cool cars, motorcycles, stuff like that. And as our collection grew, the need and want for people to come see our stuff grew. And it's a product of COVID. It's a product of people bugging us to see our toys, and we just finally gave in and we said, you know what, we're gonna, because I wanted to do a museum, but not until I was, in my like 50s or 60s, where I could, just kind of just run the museum. And COVID kind of sped that up, and we opened it about a year. It's been a year and a couple months now, and it's been great. It's the first movie car museum in Colorado's history, and people love it. I mean, we get a lot of people that come back almost monthly just to see all the new toys we rotate out.
Awesome. I mean, it's really cool because I was going through the videos and my kids absolutely loved it. And for some stupid reason, I forgot to introduce myself. I just realized, sorry, it's been a long day.
Hey man, it's Monday. So Mondays are like that.
Yeah. And I'm Gremlin Dave from Blown-Pistons podcast. And yeah, it's been one of those days where it's like everything that could go wrong has. I had to work on my minivan, which spent couple hours on it yesterday, and just trying to get everything done and get ready for this has been something else.
No worries at all. I get it, man. I get it. We all have those days.
But no, like I said, I was going through your videos and you got some really cool cars there. And I guess I got a few questions. Like, I mean, sorry, I wrote some stuff down because it's just, there's a lot to take in with the museum and stuff like that. I mean, are they all, I mean, it looks like you got a mix of like movie cars, custom cars and stuff like that. I mean, is that pretty much a lot of what it is? It's kind of a mix of some stuff or?
Yep. So we have, so I'll give you a little rundown. So in 2017, we started with 12 cars. We now have 145 cars.
Oh, wow.
And in the museum is mostly movie cars, TV show cars, and video game cars with a mix of screen used and replicas, and then fan builds as well. Okay. But I mean, we've got screen used Fast and the Furious. We've got Mad Max. We've got, all your, you see those posters or the Facebook gifts, and it's like, what movie car would you drive? Pretty much everything on that poster we have.
Awesome.
So, you've got everything from the 80s and 90s to current. But what's cool about our museum is it's more of a hybrid. Being a younger owner, I don't do the traditional, no touch, no pictures, no nothing. Mm-hmm. So we let people do TikToks, pictures, videos, whatever they want to do while they're in there.
Yeah.
But it's always changing. Like we have next month, we're going to have the Surfer Boy pizza van from Stranger Things coming out.
Oh, and, cool.
I mean, they haven't even started filming season 5 yet. So, it stays current and it's always changing, which is part of the fun.
Cool. Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions too. If you guys rotate like stuff out, and so it sounds like you guys do. I mean, do you take stuff out of the museum to bring new stuff in?
Yeah, so we rotate all the time. So we still do rentals. That's our prime business. We also own a transportation company as well. but our prime business is the rentals. So we have, let's say if we have, 5 or 6 cars getting rented in September, we'll pull those out. We'll put them in the warehouse. We'll bring 5 or 6 different ones in. We have 2 Ghostbusters. We have the 59, and then we have the screen used one from the 2016 film. Okay. And, one, obviously the 59 is more popular rental. So the 2016 stays in the museum. And then, sometimes you'll just show up at the museum and, you'll see, you could come Monday and it would look, you could see 5 different cars by Friday. That's awesome. Part of it.
So how do you get some of these cars? Like the ones that are actually movie used or screen used?
So we'll buy them directly from production companies. We'll buy them from other movie car museums. We'll buy them from other collectors that are just bored with them. But mostly we try and buy them as soon as they're wrapped and they're done. They don't want the car sitting around, so they'll sell them to people like us.
That's cool, because I know there's one kind of by where we're at. It's Volo Auto Museum. Yep.
I know Volo in Illinois.
Yep. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half away from where I'm at, because I'm in southern Wisconsin. So
there are 7 movie car museums in the United States. So there was 6. We opened up, and we're the most recent. We're number 7. Scott Velvet, I think, has been probably doing it the longest. He owns Celebrity Car Museum in Branson, Missouri.
Okay.
Very good friend of mine. That's a fantastic museum. That's who pushed me to open this museum, and now I just don't have a life. So I do nothing but work, but it's great. Everybody loves it.
Seems like anything to do with cars is pretty much what everybody says.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, that is cool. And I know, like, watching, there was one video on YouTube, and I forget which one it was, but you were saying on how, like, the DeLorean, the time machine, took like 3 or 4 months to build, and you guys built it in the shop and everything there.
Yeah, so it goes with the whole hybrid theory of these new type of museums and new stuff for the fans to enjoy. Is we have this area in the museum where we'll clear out and we'll build a car right in front where people that are just randomly at the museum can watch us build it. So a team of 6 of us, myself included, started building one. I picked it up from the original owner. It's got 12,000 original miles out of Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, wow.
Still had the original title from 1981. And this old lady had it, and we bought it, turned it into a time machine, and it's Colorado's first time machine. It's a build that's probably my second favorite build by far. But it was definitely super enjoyable, super hands-on, but I'll never do it again. I built probably movie stuff, probably 20, 25 cars, something like that. Okay. And I'll never do that one again. It was a pain.
So if that was your second, what's your first one then?
Michael Keaton's 89 Batmobile was always a fan favorite of mine. Mm-hmm. We bought a rolling shell that was used at Universal Studios for their Batman exhibit.
Okay.
It got actually FedExed to Dubai before I got it for Stan Lee Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. It was just a roller. It was a fiberglass shell with a boxed frame to roll the wheels. They didn't steer. They didn't do anything. So when we got it, we completely tore it down, bare fiberglass, custom built the first diesel powered Batmobile in the world. It's got a 12 valve Cummins, 10-foot propane flamethrower, spinning Gatling guns. Like it's just awesome. So completely street legal. And that's the car that got me into movie cars.
Cool. Now, do you take any of them out and drive them around yourself, or?
Oh yeah, I rotate. My daily driver for the last 8 months has been the Zombieland Hummer.
Cool.
Just getting ready to switch into the Cobra Kai Challenger, but we'll when we take them to events, if it's close, we'll drive them. Sometimes if there could be a chance for weather or whatnot, we'll take one of the enclosed, or we have a 2-car enclosed as well. Okay. Or if it's just a very popular car where we know we're going to have, these things will cause accidents when we're driving down the highway. So, the Time Machine, the Mad Max car, some of the Fast and Furious stuff, we'll put them in enclosed trailers. That way people don't know what we have, moving. And then other times we'll drive them. So
cool. I know the Mad Max one's one of my favorites is sitting in there, but Christine is my all-time favorite. And
it is super cool. So that car was thought to be lost. And it's one of the original stunt cars, and it was used to promote Mad Max 2. And I love it. I mean, the only thing the original fuel injection system started to come apart, like the seals, it was spraying gas everywhere. So I switched it back to carbureted, just because I know how to work on carbureted. It's easier for me, but I have all the original fuel injection stuff that came off of it. That thing still runs great. I mean, that's another cool part of the museum. Everything in there runs except the flying car from Harry Potter. Like that's it. Everything else runs.
Yeah, seeing that one now, that one, since you said it was from part 2, so that was all filmed in Australia. So it got lost like after it got to the US, or lost after that?
So it got lost here. So the guy imported 2. He bought a parts car when he was over there in Australia, and then he bought this stunt car, and he brought it over here and he put it away in storage. He actually ended up passing away a couple of years ago, and the widow came into the museum and was like, and now you gotta let me set the scene here. When you own a movie car museum, I get 5 to 20 calls a week of people trying to sell us something. And so this lady comes in the museum and she's like, "Oh, I got this Mad Max car," and I'm thinking like, it's a Ford Taurus with some stuff drilled into the hood. Like, okay, like,
yeah, right.
What kind of car is it? She's like, "Oh, it's one of the stunt cars from the first one. It's right-hand drive." I'm like, "Whoa, okay, wait a minute, okay." So I'm like, let's go look at it. So we went, I drove, followed her to her house. Sure enough, there it is, sitting in its flesh. I mean, obviously the battery was done. The tires were flat. But we aired up the tires, put a new battery in it, put some fuel down it, and it fired right up. And yeah, it's something that walked in. We didn't need any more cars, but sure enough, we went ahead and we bought it, of course, because I mean, you can't, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
And I drove it, and I love that. That's up there in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah, because I know, like I said, watching that video, and I'm probably going to refer to it a lot because that video is really good. I mean, you guys, seems like everything has a story in there.
It really does. But that goes with why movie cars are so popular and why TV show cars, because the cars have stories, the people have stories when they remember seeing them, or they remember going to the movies or whatnot, and it just kind of connects. I always tell people, from a 2-year-old to 102, like we're going to have something for you in the museum that you like.
Yeah, because my wife watched it and she's like, "Oh my God, they got this, they got that." It's like her eyes just lit up, and she's not like, she gets into the stuff, but not like I do or anything, but watching her just light up, and then the kids kind of got into it. And one of my sons doesn't really care about cars at all, but loves Jurassic Park, seen the Jeep Wrangler, and he was like, "I want to go there just to see this one car."
Yep.
And it's cool watching their eyes light up just from a video. And they're like, "Oh, you're going to be talking to this guy?" It's like, well, my wife's like, "Well, we need to make plans to go out there."
Yeah, you guys come visit anytime. And and I live it every week. I mean, we always get, so there's 3 types of fans that come in the museum every week. We got criers, screamers, and just people that just ball out over one specific vehicle. And we love it. Like that's part of the fun, and we really try and make it super interactive. Another thing we do is we let fans vote. Whatever car is sitting up front for that month, they get to sit in, they get to get their picture. That's all included. And it puts it on them to vote and stay active with trying to figure out what car they want to sit in next. And it makes it fun for them. And we're not responsible when they're like, "Oh, it's this car." I'm like, "You guys picked it. So, you want to sit in something else, go vote for it." So right now it's the Jeepers Creepers truck, and next one coming up is the Pizza Planet truck is going to be the next one.
Oh, cool. That Jeepers Creepers one's got to be really cool. I didn't see that one on the video.
Yep. Yeah. I found the guy that has one of the original ones. He turned down $100,000 for the screen use truck just because he's having fun with it, which is great. He takes it to like Comic-Cons and stuff like that. And so it took me about 2 years of searching, 2 or 3 years of searching for the correct year, which is a 41. Which they didn't make very many of them. And then we found it and I built it. We built that thing in about 30 days. So,
oh, wow.
But it came out really, really cool. So.
No, that is really cool. I mean, is there anything that you're trying to get your hands on right now?
Yes. So I'm looking for a Superbird in any condition. Doesn't matter. I don't care if it's rough. I don't care if it's perfect. We have a couple different avenues we want to do with a Superbird. That's also been a dream car of mine that I haven't owned. I've owned probably, I don't know, 3,000 cars, but that's one of the ones that is just my car that I want to get, because there's a couple different avenues, whether you go like the cars and build a King replica, or you go like Joe Dirt Superbird. We'll get David Spade out to the museum for signing autographs and stuff. But just, that's one. We're looking for, we actually were on TikTok and we called out for our fans looking for a Bluesmobile.
Cool.
And we found one of those, got that all done. So that'll be in the museum in September. But we're always, if it's movie car, TV show car, or just cool, we're interested.
Okay. Yeah. And some of them got to be like, I guess when you get them since some of them have like different movies and shows that they've been in, does it take a while to figure out like which way you want to go with one?
Yeah, there is. Well, and it's all about getting it back to running and driving and nice, because normally what a lot of people don't realize, or people that are not in this world, is it looks great on screen, but they're usually thrown together. They're usually not built to, be like what we do with rentals and stuff. Now, you can't like come into our museum and go rent our, Dom Charger for the weekend and take your wife out for a hot date. But think of it more like rental, like props, like for a wedding or for a commercial or fun, fun stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask too, like that. When you do rent it, is it like, do you drive them yourself and park them there, or do you let them take it out? Or
so probably 95 times out of 100, we'll drive them, we'll set them up. There are some instances where they'll be able to drive them, like if it's a wedding and they want to drive like away from the wedding in the movie car, they can do that.
Okay.
But they usually end up driving it like a mile down the road or something.
Yeah, because I know, like from that video, it was saying that like the 53 Corvette was one of the most popular that they rent for like weddings and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, that's that one. The Auburn Boattail Speedster is another very popular rental car. We have there's so many popular wedding rentals, but we do about 300 events a year.
Oh wow.
So if that gives you an idea. We do two weddings every weekend. So it keeps us very busy.
And do you guys have a lot of like, just for the movie cars, do you have a lot of the celebrities that actually come out and do autograph signings and stuff?
Yep. Yeah, we do. So 2 times a year, we do celebrity meet and greets. So usually the beginning of the season, so like February, March, and then the end of the season, like October, November, we'll do in-house. You come to the museum. The last one we had Chad Lindbergh, who played Jesse from Fast and Furious. He also was Garth in Supernatural. He was Dr. Badass in Supernatural. Okay. And he was in October Sky. He's a great guy. We also had DJ Qualls, who was Garth in Supernatural. A lot of my generation will remember him from Road Trip or The New Guy. He was the star. Yeah, great. And you know what's crazy is he looks the same, just 20 years older. Like,
oh wow,
he acts the same, looks the same. Like it's really he's aged really well. And who else do we have? We had Cesar Garcia from Breaking Bad, and he was Juvenile in Fast and Furious. So we had the 3 of them out in March for a celebrity meet and greet. And then we have another one coming up in October, which we're going to announce who's coming later this month.
Yeah, the one guy from Road Trip, and that one of the funniest lines I can ever remember is when they're sitting at the sperm bank and he's like, "I had sex with a girl."
Yeah, with a girl. He's great, and and what's cool about it is like I have relationships. I'm friends with these guys outside of the museum, outside of work, and they're just great. We try and bring people that are going to be enjoyable to be around the fans. We don't try and bring, the ones that are going to just be like, yeah, move along, sign, pay $100 for my picture. Like we try and make it super affordable to where everybody can really enjoy it. So
that's really cool. Yeah, like I said, a lot of places they'll get the big name stars, but they're just, sign quick, out, sign out, sign out.
Yeah. I really try to incorporate what I felt growing up as a fan into the museum. Like I remember going to Comic-Con and I only had $100 and I had to pick and choose what celebrity I wanted to meet because I couldn't afford to do, 2 of them or 3 of them or whatever. Nowadays $100 barely buys you a photo with a A-list celebrity. So we try and do that, but the celebrities feel that and they love it. That's why they recommend a lot of, great people to come visit. So, and they'll keep coming out.
That's cool. Now, watching that video, I kind of missed it because one of my kids asked me something. So there was an issue with the car Christine.
Yeah. So we have Stephen King's Christine, the car that was hooked up to the front of the semi during filming. And we pulled it in the museum and we parked it, and it kept giving us issues. The car that it followed it in was a 57 Chevy, and we were trying to move that, and the throttle stuck, almost crashing into the DeLorean before it turned into the time machine. If you go in the museum, you can actually see skid marks stopping right before where the time machine used to be.
Oh, wow.
And then we parked it, and the TV kept there's multiple TVs throughout the whole museum that play clips of the films or pictures or whatever. And right before, as we parked it, the TV just kept turning itself on and off and just doing weird stuff. And I was like, this, but ever since the museum's been open, we haven't had any issues. So let's just keep that going.
Surprised you don't park that one next to the Supernatural car.
It is. It actually is right next. I put my troublemakers all together. So when you go into the museum, we actually we do a lot of inside jokes, and we really are very interactive with our fans, but we put Baby in the corner. So there's this one corner of the museum, and we put Baby right in the corner. So we can say that we put Baby in the corner. And then we have James Dean's Little Bastard sitting right next to the Supernatural car. So it's just, we try and keep all our troublemakers together.
Now that one, obviously that one's a reproduction, but was that, did you guys have to build that car, or did you find it and got it, or?
So we had to build it. We bought the Spider out of Brazil. There was a private collector down there. It was blue when we bought it, and we turned it into, James Dean's Spider, the Little Bastard. And it's got such good history. And I think, if there's, for those of you guys who don't know, definitely Google the James Dean Little Bastard car, check out the history of it. The real car is still missing today. It was stolen out of a junkyard, and there's an active $1 million reward for it if you can find its whereabouts. I personally think it's in a basement in California somewhere,
probably
Northwest, or somewhere that it's just covered under a tarp, and somebody's like, this goes, don't ever tell anybody about this.
But wasn't that one of them too, where they said some of the parts that came off that car ended up, there was other people linked to it that were getting killed?
There's 3 people that were linked to dying after James Dean from parts that were sold off of his car.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yep, super, super creepy. So we ended up that our cars actually used I want to say it was maybe season 12 of Supernatural, the Wax Museum episode. So they use the James Dean car, and there's a fake James Dean inside, whatever. And it's he ended up dying in the car, but it's got such good history, such a good car, and people love to check it out.
No, that is really cool. Like I said, that video, everything in there is just awesome. I was kind of wondering though, do you guys ever get the Flintstones cars or anything like that in?
Yep. So we actually have one of the screen used Pebble Racers from the John Goodman original Flintstones.
Okay.
Well, another thing, again, if you're not in the world, you don't know this stuff, but those cars, most of them were built with spray foam and spray paint, so they didn't last. They fell apart. They lasted for 6 weeks of filming, and then they just started falling apart. Unless some of them, were taken care of and into collections right away. And this Pebble Racer went into a private collector's collection, and then we got it from them. So, and it still rolls. You can sit in it and it rolls, and
oh, cool,
and all that stuff. We've got, there's some that people just forget about. We have the screen used 200 mile per hour turbine bike from the Priest, starring Paul Bettany. We have Lemony Snicket's limo, the one that Jim Carrey drove in Series of Unfortunate Events.
Now that's actually what got me, that made me want to reach out to you guys. Was I was watching TikTok, and I believe it was you that actually came to that car and talking about how it was found in a barn or something.
Yeah, so it was out in Ramona, California for the last like 20 some years, or like 19 years, because that film came out in 2004. Right after filming, it went into this back to this barn, and it literally just sat there. It sat there on jack stands, and it was down there, and people thought it was destroyed in filming, and then it popped up again. And that's the crazy. You never really know. Like, people collect weird stuff, and a lot of people, they don't want to share it. They just want to say they have it. So. And then they get bored with it, or it goes to an estate sale or whatever, and then people like us buy it so people can enjoy it.
So is that how you got your hands on it, or?
Yeah, so it popped up for sale, and then we bought it directly from them.
That one, did you do any modifying to it at all, or just kind of as is?
Aired the tires up, drove it in the museum, and parked it.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that thing is it's really, really cool, and what's cool about it is everything that was in filming is still inside the car, like the telephone and the clock and the little elf, like it's all still there.
Cool.
Like they wrapped with filming and then rolled it over there.
And then, so like the Lightning McQueen car, I seen that looks like a real NASCAR.
Yep. So that's actually Jeff Gordon's old race car. Came out. It was in the NASCAR museum. And they do they'll rotate with new featured racers or whatever. But what's cool about the fact that it went to a NASCAR museum is normally when they sell, ex-driver's car, they pull everything out. The computers, the motor, the transmission, everything, they're just a rolling shell. Since that went to the museum, it kept all the internals. It still has the NASCAR performance computer, still has the motor that they raced with, still has that thing, still runs and drives. Everything is in there still. We actually will hook it up with Mater and we can tow it on a trailer, and we use Mater to tow it.
Now, is that one, did you guys paint that one and do all that yourselves, or?
Nope, we bought it completely finished. And it was built by somebody that's done FX graphic stuff for a long time. And it's probably one of the best ones that we've seen on the streets or available.
No, it's really cool. And I mean, and looking at it, you guys got a lot of like rat rods and stuff like that, like the Rat Fink and.
Yep. A lot of rat rods, a lot of classics. Because a lot of our rentals, like, there's copyright, so you can't rent. You can't have a music video or an upcoming movie and rent a Jurassic Park Jeep. It's got to be a hot rod or a classic. But we do, like Netflix and Hulu, they rent from us for background cars, or they want their villain to have this car or whatever. They'll rent certain cars from us, but those can't be copyright cars. Those got to be just cool, unique cars.
So now that you mentioned like the copyright, how do you guys, like, do you have to get the permission to like the studios and stuff like that when you guys have those, or?
We're not filming any movies with them. We're literally just displaying them. So there's really no issues there.
Oh, okay.
Like if I was going to go make a new Jurassic Park Jeep or a new Jurassic Park, and I'm like, oh, I'm using this Jurassic Park Jeep, you're going to get in trouble.
Gotcha.
This is for the fans. This is just like them, displaying them at Universal or displaying them at Disneyland or, Disney World. It's just for the fans to enjoy.
Okay. I know the one that kind of threw me off was Batty Caddy.
Yes. So that one's cool. So when I was younger, I met George Barris at a Comic-Con, and I asked him, and I was young. And I asked him, I said, what made you pick the Lincoln as the Batmobile? And he goes, I had a list of cars that I thought would make a good vehicle for my design. And at the time, I wasn't sure the Futura was going to come through, because they had to give it to him. They had to give him the rights or whatever. I would assume that's what he meant when he said come through. So he's like, I looked at the other Lincolns. I looked at Cadillacs. And he goes, the way the fin was designed, I liked the Cadillac. So that got us thinking, like, what would the Batmobile look like as a Cadillac? So we took a 4-door 1960 Cadillac and turned it into like a 60s Batmobile.
Yeah, it's really cool, because like I say, it threw me off because I'm a huge, like, that's my favorite Batmobile, the Lincoln Futura.
Yep.
And I seen that, I'm like, wait a minute, what was that in?
Yeah, it's super cool history, and it makes you think, like, it's that simple of if somebody would have wrote a different car down, like, it's that, if the General Lee could have been a Camaro, but no, they choose to they chose a Charger. Bumblebee could have been a Ford Mustang, but they chose a Camaro. Like it's crazy how easy it, and what we know now of the cars, but how easy it could have changed.
And like the one from Dumb and Dumber, the Monster Mutt?
The Mutts and Cuts. Yep.
That thing is cool as hell.
The only one we have to clean with a vacuum in the whole museum. I love it.
Does that one take a while to vacuum?
No, it stays pretty clean as long. Our whole key is not to get it wet. As long as we don't get that thing wet, it won't start stinking.
Don't have the wet dog smell.
Yep. And we have the mini bike goes in. We have the mini bike as well. That goes right inside the back of the minivan. So, or back of the Mutts and Cuts, which is awesome.
And so when it's like a nice day and you guys do take them out, now is that when you get that one semi, or not semi, but that one older looking truck out? The blue one?
Our car hauler?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple of those. Our oldest one is a 49 COE car hauler. It's just a cool, when we did rentals, because the museum came last. So when we did rentals, I would show up with the car hauler. Here's what you guys are renting, unload it. That thing drives great. It's got air conditioning. It's got air ride. I love that thing. But as the months, August, September, October, we have rain a lot in the evenings or even hail. So we like taking the enclosed trailers because it works as a garage to protect them if we need to move them inside for whatever reason. So now the car hauler is just sitting in the museum.
Now, so you guys, how long before you started the museum, were you guys renting out the cars for quite a few years, or?
We've been renting them out since 2017.
Okay.
So, and not every year we just kept growing and growing and growing. We start with 12 cars, then we start with 40 cars, then 50 cars. I mean, it just kept growing and growing. If I get more space, I'll keep filling it.
So you guys are kind of like the opposite, where COVID kind of killed a lot of businesses. It helped you guys get going.
Yeah. Well, it gave me the free time to design the museum, pick this location. It goes back to being interactive with the fans. We chose to start at a mall because, the younger generation that's buried in their cell phones, they go to a mall. They will not pack into a car and go to a museum, but they will pack in a car and go to a mall. So if we can get them in there, they start seeing a car. They're like, oh, I want to build one of these with my dad or my mom or my brother or sister or whatever. They're there already. So that's the audience we're going for. And it's been great. It's been, we've been growing just the passion for cars.
No, it's definitely cool. Like I said, watching the videos on it, and there's tons of videos out there where people are going through the museum, just regular people, and that ooh, look at this, look at this, look at this. I mean, it's just cool watching their eyes light up, and it's like I said, it makes my wife and kids and I want to go out there and check it out. I mean, my wife's like, yeah, we need to schedule a trip to Colorado to go see this now.
Yeah, it's great. And we're right off the highway. We're 40 minutes away from the airport. It's super central to what everybody does in the state anyways. I'm a native here, so I kind of, I know the ins and outs and everything around here, but it's something that we get to experience every week. I mean, it's really, or every day really. We get, people that are just excited to be there, and that's what we want. That's what we want to bring every day, is just a different memory for somebody else.
Now, whereabouts are you guys located at?
So we're located inside the Colorado Mills Mall, right off of I-70 and Colfax. Okay.
No, it's definitely, like I said, really cool. And what you do with and I noticed each car has their own little sign and stuff like that kind of explains what some of it is, which helps out, because some of the people, there was a couple of cars looking through it that I was like, okay, I'm not sure what that's from. And then when you see the sign, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. And
yep. Yeah. There's we got the car from Chinatown with Jack Nicholson when he's super young. There's so many just different cars, but yeah, the info cars just have a couple little fun facts, and then what the year, make, model, motor, stuff like that. We're working on developing an app where, because sometimes we have the hoods open on certain cars, or doors open or doors closed or whatever, but we're working on developing an app where you scan it when you go in the museum, but you can hold it up to a car and it'll show you what the inside of that car looks like. It'll show you what the trunk or the back, like, so if it's facing one way, you can see the other side, or, but everything's really, really close in the museum. We have like, people think, oh, it's a movie car museum in a mall. There's 74 cars in there right now.
Oh, wow.
Right up against, like, it's like 30,000 square feet. So it's much bigger than a lot of people anticipate, but that's what, ideally we'd love to have a building that's 100,000 square feet so we can put all the cars in one place. But I think, being up close and personal, it's like looking over and you can see the steering wheel and all that stuff. That's just another cool factor. So,
and you said you guys got a warehouse that's got even more cars in it?
Yep. Yeah. So we keep about half. So we have 145 total.
Okay.
And that number goes up monthly as we buy and build and all that stuff. And we keep about the other half in, like, a lot of the rental cars will stay at the warehouse.
So you got a lot of duplicates or anything, or are they all separate?
Some duplicates or some hot rods and rat rods and classics and trucks. And like, if we have our Christmas truck that'll come out around Christmas, we'll set up the back and do that for all the photo shoot stuff, and just other stuff that doesn't need to be in the museum right there, or just popular cars. Like, if there's a popular rental, we'll keep it at the warehouse, just because it's easier to do that than try and get it in and out of the museum every other week.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose the mall probably doesn't like it when you start them up and move them out and in, out and in.
We don't mind. That was in part of our contract. We get to move them, drive them in and out anytime after hours or before mall hours.
Okay, cool.
So I'm not a fan of pushing my cars, so
I don't blame you.
We like to drive them. A lot of them things are heavy, so we like to drive them.
Yeah, I know they can be kind of a pain to push, because when I was younger, we used to have a weekend where we put the race cars in the mall, like from our local speedway, and I was always help pushing the cars in and out. And yeah, they can just be a pain when you got to push them in a mall, and your feet slip and the tires sit there and they have a lot more traction your feet do, and it's hard to move them.
Yep. Yeah, no fun at all. It's rough on the back.
That it is. So a lot of the cars, though, that some of them are like, they're not exactly quite like the movie, but I noticed like they look really cool and really similar, like the mystery van.
Yep. Yeah. So we do replicas, and then we do a lot of stuff. So the mystery machine was actually built for the 50th anniversary for Hot Wheels. So Hot Wheels has this mini mystery machine in their packet, and they wanted a real life-size mini mystery machine. So that's where that came from. Like, that's the cool part. Like, it's a lot easier. Like, people are like, oh, they need to all be screen used. Like, it's just not realistic.
True.
There's cool cars out there that are available that get the same point across. But we have a full-size mystery machine that'll go out for events. Then we have the mini mystery machine that'll stay at the museum, which is great because it takes up less room.
I guess that makes more sense then. At least then you're not like trying to compact this big van into a small area.
Sure. We have the 18 van, so trust me, I get it. We put that.
I was actually going to ask you about that one.
Yep, it's going back in the museum. We probably mid-August we'll put it back in the museum.
I know you got one of my favorite cars too, besides Christine, like the Death Proof one.
Yep, the Death Proof Nova. That thing drives fantastic. I love driving that car. That one's got a pretty good following too. That's the only Quentin Tarantino film that goes in chronological order. That's the only one he's ever done that does that. So, but yeah, the duck on the front of that thing is that's the best part.
You guys gonna get the Charger from that one at all anytime soon, or
maybe there's a Charger and there's a Mustang from Death Proof as well. So maybe get all three and line them all up.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys try to just randomly look for movie cars, like say like 2-lane blacktop or something like that, or
not randomly, religiously? We look every day, midnight, 2 a.m. when I can't sleep. I'm on looking. I mean, I've got sources. I've bought cars all over the world. UK, Japan, everywhere. If I can find it and I can get it and we make it work, I'm gonna make it happen.
Cool. And I seen your Halo one. Now you said that one's all electric.
Yep. So that runs on two 12-volt batteries, car batteries, and it can hold 2 grown adults.
Oh wow! So it's like a giant Power Wheel for adults.
It's on an ATV chassis. And I've driven it around the museum. I like that thing. That thing's cool. It sits on top of our car hauler right now.
No, a lot of like the movie props and that. Is that stuff you get from the movies also, or?
Yep. So we have a lot of screen used props throughout the museum, accessories, if you will. Like we have some original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle heads. We've got we got a hoverboard that's signed by Christopher Lloyd, who played Doc Brown. We've got there's one of the original jackets from Mad Max. We have some Fast and Furious stuff that's signed by a lot of the actors and stuff like that. But it's a mix of you got to have the accessories to go with the car. So that's part of
it makes the exhibit a little more warming to everybody looking at. They're not just looking at the car; they're looking at pieces that were actually there, and they're like, "Oh, I remember that in the movie." Or
yeah, and we have it's not just movies. We have like old porcelain signs. We have old gas pumps. We have old loopsters. Like there's so much history in that museum. It's crazy. You get like you could walk through it once and then walk through it again and see a bunch of different stuff. Cars from 1919 to 2016, or we've had concept cars in there. We do a star car area that changes every month, which is a different community member's car that they just want to showcase in the museum. We had Eleanor in there. We had a GT40 in there a couple months ago. It's just so much cool stuff always going on. We're always doing events. We're always doing it's not, I love the typical museums and they have their own, their own setup, and they're just, people are used to those. And it's great. Like I go to active museums all the time. If I go visit somewhere, I'm going to the museums. But it's once you go there, it's kind of like a once a year thing. So for us, we really wanted to make it, you could go there once a month. Okay. That's really what we focus on, because we want it to be something, different and unique every time.
So when you mentioned Eleanor, do you got the one from like the Nicolas Cage version or the original?
The 67 fastback. Yeah.
Okay. Cause I know they were pretty close, but the original gone in 60 seconds. I don't know if they still consider that one Eleanor or not, or if it was just Mustang.
Yeah. We have one. You have to have one that we have. Ours is officially licensed one. Cause there's a whole thing going on with the original Eleanor and the naming rights and all that stuff. So if you get one, make sure you get an officially licensed one. But yeah, if we had the yellow one, nobody would recognize it, at least not our generation. The gray 67 Nicolas Cage one is what everybody recognizes.
True. Yeah, because I didn't really recognize that until after, like, I watched the Nicolas Cage version first, and then it's like, oh, it's a remake. So then I watched the original. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Now, do you guys have any like the Smoking the Bandit truck or anything like that? Or
I don't have the truck. We do have the Trans Am. We have the only original General Lee that was ever lifted. Now people are gonna be like, wait, they didn't lift the General Lee. Yes, they did. Season 2, episode 12, the Arrest Jesse Duke episode. They made it look. Like they represented it as 4-wheel drive. Really, what they did, they just flipped the axle over. They didn't actually make it 4-wheel drive, but it looks 4-wheel drive. But that was the only time they ever lifted the General Lee, which is now it's been revamped. It's been completely restored. It's got a all modern 4x4 drivetrain underneath it. It's really 4-wheel drive now, and a fuel injected Hemi V8 in it, and it's great.
Not a truck chassis or something, or
yeah, it's a modified truck chassis on it now. Cool. Super cool car. We've got that. We've got Knight Rider, A-Team, all your 80s, 90s hits. But as we expand to get more room, I want to get the like Optimus Prime, the big semi. I want to get that.
Oh, cool.
Like those type. What you give me the room and I will fill it. So
you gonna try finding like the original Optimus Prime, or
I know where
over, or the other one.
One of them is from the 07 film, but I'll probably build the original. I like the original the most.
Yeah, same here. The original cab over design.
Yep,
from the 80s.
Yep. So
yeah,
and we've got the Bumblebee from 2007. But it would be cool to have Optimus in there. I mean, there's so many cars out there, you know, having 140 plus, there's still 140 I want.
Yeah. No,
But
it's very cool.
thank you. Yeah, it's literally like I'm like a kid in a candy store every day. I'm not really working. I'm, you know, just enjoying life.
So do you guys go through and have to like clean them daily or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The staff has to dust them and clean them all the time. Per fire code, we have to have the batteries disconnected, and to have good design appeal, we can't have trickle chargers running everywhere. So we go through a lot of batteries. So Duracell or Optima, hit me up, sponsorship, let's go. There's a lot of maintenance into them, making sure we rotate the tires, we put them on flat garage tiles so we don't get any flat spots in tires. Just a lot of, because we drive all our stuff. It's not going to park there and sit and never move.
Yeah, it's going to be another question too. Like, how do you guys keep like the lights going for all of them? Like with the Knight Rider car, the red light going back and forth, and I think the Ecto One's got lights underneath it and stuff.
Yep. So another per fire code, we had to change everything to 110. So they're all running inverters with 110 plug-ins, so I can plug them right into the ground and
cool.
have them going. And then when we take them out, I just pull it out, turn off the inverter, and I can use everything off the 12-volt battery.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
So they don't have an issue with, or they do have an issue if you just ran it off the actual car battery then.
Yep. Yeah. Per fire code, we can't run it off the car battery. We have to run everything off 110 because there has to be a circuit break. There has to be an opportunity for that to pop the fuse versus going off the car battery.
Okay.
It just becomes a liability. You're talking 74 batteries,
Yeah, true. And one thing goes wrong, and then next thing you know, everything's kind of domino affecting.
Yep. You do not want that. We don't say the F word in the museum. And it's not the F word everybody thinks either. So
I'm assuming it's fire.
Yes. You don't say that. But no, we make sure we take excellent care in making sure that everything is prepped correctly.
Cool. All right. Well, I suppose I won't take up too much more of your time. It is really cool though. I'm definitely going to try to get the family out there soon. Is there anything that you want to promote or where people can find like the museum and stuff like that?
We're on, it's just Rodz and Bodz, but spelled with Z's because, my first name is Zach. So I had to change it up, throw myself in there a little bit. Rodzandbodz.com on all, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, website. And just come visit, it's a great experience, and we'll be here. We're through the mall through 2024. We may extend another 3 years, or we may go to our own location, but we'll stay somewhere close.
Cool. All right. And thanks again for being on here. As soon as I get this episode out, I'll let you know.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
And yeah, it's been a blast. Like I said, my wife and I, we're going to try making plans to come out and see it once we can get the kids and everything around. And yeah, Perfect. Definitely going to try to make it out there.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah. If you need anything or you're coming out, just let me know.
All right. Will do. And thanks again.
Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem.